Alright, today we are on lesson 6.2. We're on lesson 2, day 2. You should be following along in your notes. So the first thing you had to do was the total line investigation. I do want you to hold on to this. I'm going to be showing you how we're gluing things in our notebooks. That is not a requirement by me. You do not have to put your foldables in your notebook, but at the same time, if you don't have the same thing to be helping you study. So we do it to help you review when we go to take our test. On the total line, let's go ahead and go through this. It says Walker's ace position is A star number 2, and Walker B is 4. So what would be our inequality sign right now? 2 is blanked up 4. Devlin? Less than. Okay, we're going to add 2. So this would be 4. And this would be 6. So I added 2 to both sides. What would be my new inequality symbol? Go ahead and say it out loud. We're going to keep going. We're going to do this kind of quick so we don't waste too much time. If we subtract 3 from both sides, we get 1 and 3. Inequality would be? Stays the same. Still last thing. If we're going to add negative 2, which means we're subtracting 2, I'd have negative 1, 1. Inequality sign? Stays the same. We're going to multiply by 2. So now when I multiply by 2, I get negative 2 and 2. Inequality sign is? I'm going to subtract 7. Negative 9, negative 5. Inequality sign? Still less than. We're going to multiply by negative 3. So I have 27 and I have 15. Oh, my sign flipped. Okay? I'm going to add 5. 32 and 20. My sign is greater than. Stay the same. I'm going to divide by negative 4. So when I divide by negative 4, I'm going to get negative 8 and 5. My inequality sign is, it flipped. It's now less than. I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. Negative 10 and 3. My inequality sign is less than still. We're going to multiply by negative 1. So I get 10 and I get negative 3. Inequality sign is? It flipped again. We add 4 to both sides. My sign would be? Stays the same. If I multiply by 2, I get 28 and 2. My inequality sign? Stays the same, greater than. And if I divide by 2, I get 14 and 1. My inequality sign is? Stays the same. Alright. There was a purpose to this. I went ahead and did our inequality. When our inequality sign switched and it flipped, I did it in red. So if you look up there, when did we switch our sign? What did I do to both parts of the equation? Donovan, what do you think, bud? Okay. It will switch. So this is important. Our sign, or our inequality sign, flips when we're going to multiply. And instead of putting the time sign, I'm going to write multiply. when we multiply a negative, when else did it flip? Okay? Or we divided by a negative. Did it change when I multiplied by a positive number? Did it change when we divided by a negative or a positive number? When we added or subtracted a positive? When we added or subtracted a negative? The only time our sign will change. Sean, paying attention, that's your one wording. The only time our sign will flip is when we multiply or divide by a negative number. That is key to today's assignment. Okay, I am going to pass out by the end of class, and I'll show you where you can look at it. If you go to yesterday's assignment, you don't have to do this now, but if you go in your OneNote to yesterday's assignment, you see this part that says inequality, order matters. Okay, I'm going to let you fill out this foldable on your own time, and we'll glue it in our notebook. I'll have my notebook up. I'll show how it should look in your notebook to study and important information. What we're putting in our notebooks is going to be the key information from the lessons. Okay? So, inequality, order matters. When you have your variable, like x, and my inequality symbol greater than or equal to 7, if you have to flip-flop the sides of the inequality, you must also flip-flop the inequality sign. What that means, if I said x is greater than or equal to 7, if for some reason I need to flip them around, usually we have our variable on the left because we read left, right. But if I was to write this as 7 being compared to x, because I flipped the order, my sign, my inequality, also had to flip. I don't know why you say that. Okay? So, x is greater than or equal to 7 is the same as 7 is less than or equal to x. Okay, back into today's. We will put this into our notebook. I'll show that to you in a little bit. Today's learning goal, what we are working on. If I can get to the right part, there we go. I can solve and graph inequalities using multiplication and division. We're doing the exact same thing as we did Friday, except for addition and subtraction. Today, we are using multiplication. All right, so everyone should have the notes and follow along with this. It says, solve the inequality using multiplication. I have x divided by 4 is less than or equal to 5. When I have this one, remember to undo a fraction when I have x being divided by 5. My variable's on top of my fraction. I'm going to undo it by multiplying by the reciprocal or multiplying by that denominator. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 4. And whatever you do on one side of the inequality side, you have to do the other side. So, 4 times here, well, these two would cancel each other out, and I'd be left with just x. Because I'm multiplying by a positive number, my inequality sign stays the same. And then 5 times 4 is simply 20. The last step that we have to do is we have to go ahead and graph our inequality, our solution here. And so I'm going to say x is less than 20. I'm going to make this number be 20. And so then I'll make this 22, 24, 26. I can make this 18. I can do my number line however I really like. Am I going to use a solid dot or an open dot? Solid. Solid, because it's or equal to. So we go to 20, and It is less than, so we are going to make my arrow to the left. Any questions on what we just did on this? Okay, I'm going to do a division one with you, an example. We have 5x is less than 25. So 5 times x. We undo this. Henry, I hope you're following along and doing the notes with us. I have 5x is less than 25. I have to get x alone. So I divide by 5 on both sides of my inequality. And we get x is less than 25. Once again, my inequality sign did not flip because it was a positive number I was dividing by. I'm going to say x is, I got to look for 25. I'm going to put 25 here in the middle. So this would be 27, this would be 29, this would be 23, this would be 21. Oops, I didn't divide, did I? Sorry about that. So I'm going to put my 5 in the middle. Okay? And when we use an open or closed dot? Open dot, because it's only less than. So I'm at 5, and it is less than. So it's to the left. Remember that kind of hint. When I do put my variable to the left, since this is that way, my less than sign, it's pointed to the left. It helps me think of where I'm going to put it on my number. Okay? Put that in the top way. Focus on this. Okay, here's the one that we are going to have. When you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to reverse the inequality. So, look, why do we have to do this? Well, just look at the number line. For example, 3 to 7 is an increase, but negative 3 to negative 7 is actually a decrease. So it's important that we see that. See how the inequality sign reverses from negative, or reverses from less than to greater than. Right here, when we have negative 7 is less than negative 3. Here we have 7 is greater than 3. We have to make sure that we're doing this correct. Example 3 that I'm doing with you, then you're going to be doing some with partners here. X divided by negative 6 is greater than or equal to 7. Okay, I know, since x is on the top, I'm dividing by negative 6, so I'm going to undo this by timesing by a negative 6. On my other side of the equation, I'm going to times by negative 6. Fortunately, these two will cancel each other out, and I'll have x. 7 times negative 6 is negative 42. But because we multiplied by a negative, my sign changes from a greater than or equal to less than or equal to. When we go to graph it, not much of a change. I'm going to put my negative 42 here in the middle. And then I'd say negative 40, negative 38. When I go to the right on my number line, my numbers should be getting bigger. To the left, they'll be getting smaller. I'm at 42, or negative 42. Should this be an open or closed dot? Closed dot. And it is less than. Yeah, I think this is my line. Or mine, and then I want you guys to track that one. So solve the inequality using division. Go ahead. I'm going to pause this. go ahead and I want you to solve for x, get your equation, and graph it. I'm going to be walking around. See what you can do. Alright, let's come back together. So, you should have divided each side by -3, which means I'd have x, and I'd have -8. Because we're dividing by a negative, our sign does flip from being greater than, it now is less than. We graph it. Line graphing, this is very simple. Don't make it harder than it should be. I'm just going to put where I'm at in the middle, and then I make each line worth 1. So I skip. I go -6, -4, -10, -12. We are at -8. Is it an open or closed dot? Open dot. And it is less than. Okay. Few more. We're getting close to the end. On these, we have to translate a word problem into an equation, and then we're going to graph it. So, on number 1 says, the product of -15 and y is less than 90. Okay, when you guys get word problems, the way we go ahead and solve these is we just break it down as we go. So I see the product, which is telling me it's going to be a multiplication. Sean, are you done with this? Why don't you go sit at the safe seat, take your stuff. You can be there, have your plan, and I'll come over in a second. On number 1, I have the product of -15 and y is less than 90. When I see the product of -15 and y, so I know that's going to be multiplication. This is -15 times y. The product of -15 and y. And then I have is less than. So that's my less than symbol. And we're left with 90. Well, if I break it down like that, it's pretty much just has written itself. I have -15y is less than 90. Okay? We now have to go ahead and we want to graph this. This is my first answer. I needed to translate this. I did. But now I need to solve it. So to solve this, how do I solve for y? Abby, what do you think we're going to do to solve for y? Nope. Divide by 15? Thank you. We're going to divide by -15. What will be my answer? What is my solution if I divided each side by -15? Jackson, what do you got for me?
Oh, y is greater than -6.
Why did you make it greater than? It was less than.
Because we divided by a negative, which means we would switch the inequalities.
Perfect. There's my solution. That's the second part of this equation. The third part is we have to graph it. To graph it, I just have to make my number line. And to be honest, I'm going to say if -6 is here, so I'd say -4, -2, -8, -10. That's how easy it is to make my number line. I'm at -6. Should I fill that circle in, yes or no? I see you shaking your head no. Why? Good. It's not the or equal to. It's just greater than. So it's greater than, we go to the right. These are my 3 answers. We translated it. That's this one. We solved it. We graphed it. You see this, you will have to show me all that. That's 3 points that you have. We'll do another one. So, we break it down slowly. The quotient of, so we put it in order. W divided by 24. The quotient of W and 24, W divided by 24, is greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to negative 1/6. We write this in words. I'm going to write this as a fraction. W over 24. There's our translation. 1 point. We then take this and rewrite it to solve it. And how am I going to solve this one? Aiden, what do you think, buddy? How are we going to solve this?
Oh, times both sides by 24.
Yeah, we're going to times both sides by 24.
Yes.
Because, oh yeah, I forgot we have 2 Aidens. Sorry. Because I have W divided by 24, I'm going to times each side by 24. And what will become my answer? Devlin?
W is greater than or equal to -4.
Negative what?
4.
Oh, negative 4? I think you said 24. Good. Negative 1/6 times 24. Negative 1 times negative 20, or negative 1 times 24 is negative 24. 6 times 1 is 6. That would simplify to negative 4. There's our answer. Graphing. Okay, negative 4 is here. I'm going to say negative 2, and I'm going to say 0. Negative 6, negative 8. Oh, what happened to my answer?
It moved up.
Maybe the answer turned invisible.
Well, that's really weird.
Did you undo? Did you undo?
No, I moved it.
Yeah,
up.
it moved up.
I don't know. Anyways, our answer, we're at negative 4. We fill it in because it's less than or equal to. And we move to the right. Alright, I'm going to skip the word problem for right now. Here's the last thing I'm going to give you. I'm going to hand this out. I'm going to leave it on the board for the rest of the class. I recommend that you fill this in. Okay, what's the golden rule? Let me finish up. Okay, I want you to put this in your planner, in your notebook. Remember, I'm also going to come around here in just a second. Gentlemen, I'm going to come around in just a second to also give you the flip-flop one. But the golden rule, I do want you to fill this out and put it in your notebook. There's a good chance at the end of the week I'm going to end up giving Starbucks to people that can show me that their notebook is filled out with the foldables. Like I will show my notebook, so you can copy mine down. But the golden rule of inequalities. Whenever you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, you must flip the inequality symbol. So, number one, get the variable by itself on one side of the inequality symbol. Check the order. Circle the number on the number line. Should it be an open circle or closed circle? Depends whether it's greater than or equal or less than or equal, or if it's just greater than or less than. And then you shade it appropriate. Open circle, we use the open circle when it's less than, greater than, not equal. We use the closed circle when it's less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or equal to. And then they did an example. I will leave this part up. Actually, what I'm going to do is this, because I'm going to give you the flip-flop so you can see them both. Copy. I'll give you both these foldables. Make sure you copy them, and then we'll glue them in your notebook. I will show you my notebook. I'll put it on the video for the end of today, so I won't stop recording today. I'll do it during passing time. Your homework for today, page 366 and 368. Make sure you pay attention to the numbers because it's random numbers. 4, 6, 10, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 30, 32, 36, and 52. It's like 12 questions you have to do exactly what we worked on today.
Yes, 12.
All right.